This. This is the Sonic movie I've been waiting for since we ever got announced there was going to be a Sonic movie. I'm so pumped. We're gonna go through the merch, and then I'm gonna talk about the movie for a little bit, and then we'll get into spoilers at the very end of the video. At one point, I will probably do like a full in-depth review. That's not what this is. I'm just gonna get my first impressions out there of what I thought of this movie, and I'm showing off some merch I got in the process in the meantime. So, yeah, let's get started. Yesterday, I knew I wasn't gonna get to watch it pre-premiere. I had some friends that wanted to see it with me, so I waited today until opening day, and we went and watched it tonight up in the city. So yesterday, I got my first couple pieces of merch. So what I got was the Sonic Cup with the Sonic figure on top of it. Got this at my local AMC. And then that came with this popcorn tin. So it's got Tails on one side, Sonic on the other, and they're embossed. And then on the back, it's got Knuckles, and he's not embossed, but it's because on this side, you can see through and you have Shadow. Yeah, what I was saying, I went the day before and got, not just the cup, but I knew I wanted this. So behind me, where I actually keep the Predator head usually, I got this guy. I made a special trip to the theaters just to make sure I would get my hands on one of these. I missed out on the Venom popcorn bucket. I missed out on the Aliens popcorn bucket. I was not going to miss out on Sonic. So I made sure to get there the day they started selling these, and I got the Sonic popcorn bucket. There's the inside of his head. Never used, of course. So I got Sonic popcorn bucket, that, and then I got Knuckles tonight when I went to actually see the movie with my friends. I was going to get the Shadow Cup. They were sold out. Let alone yesterday, I probably should have got the Shadow Cup and got the Sonic Cup tonight. But instead, they didn't have it, so I got Knuckles. So he was my favorite character when I was a kid. Not because I thought he had a good personality. I just liked him because he was red. And then he came with another one of these tins. And he also came with this. This mask, which I took a picture with my friends when I went to see the movie. But yeah, they have these goofy masks, which I guess I was supposed to get one when I got the Sonic Cup yesterday. But I didn't get one. So I only have the Knuckles mask. I probably should have asked. I don't really care about this mask. It's just a piece of foam. But it was fun. When we were watching the movie tonight, obviously it's a kids movie, so there was a lot of families, and the kids were walking around with like little Tails masks and little Sonic masks. So it was cute. These were fun for kids. But it's neat. I also got this. This is not as cool as the Sonic head, but Shadow popcorn bucket. And a quick spoiler, real quick. Quick spoiler. The back is Super Shadow. Super Shadow not shown in any of the promotional stuff, but McDonald's spoiled it for everybody again with the toys. And then this popcorn bucket for some reason has Super Shadow on the back. So there's my popcorn buckets. I got the Shadow Buddy tin, I think is what they were calling these, like the Buddy thing. The mask, the two cups, which the figures on these cups are cool. The cups just have like the basic Sonic 3 design with the people, the characters. But the figures themselves are cool. They're kind of lacking in paint, especially on the shoes. I know I did see the Shadow and Tails. They don't have any paint on their shoes at all. So Tails just looks like he's wearing red boots, and Shadow just looks like he's wearing red tennis shoes. But other than that, like the actual sculpt detail is pretty fun. And then also tonight, I got this T-shirt. They were selling Sonic T-shirts. So I got this classic Sonic shirt. All of them were classic designs for some reason. They didn't have any movie shirts. I bought this, I think, at Hot Topic when the first movie came out. So that's cool. I like this shirt a lot. But this one was cool. It's my favorite of all the designs I saw. So I picked it up. Probably wear that in a future video at some point. And then the last piece of merch that I got was this blanket. Why did I buy this? I don't know. I don't ever really buy blankets, but I guess hype is why I bought this. It's just a cool looking blanket, and I was my mind was blown as I was walking out of the movie theater. So I was like, yeah, I'm buying the blanket. I'm buying everything they have. So yeah, that was exciting. So if it's not obvious at this point, we'll get into the actual movie. I loved this movie. Was it a kids movie? Yeah, but so were the other two. Sonic 1 was more of a family movie, and it had uh, a lot of cool little nods to the franchise. Like, he was in Green Hills as a kid. Obviously, he's in the movie himself as Sonic. Robotnik's there. Uh, kind of a distant from the video game version of Robotnik, but he's still there. And then Sonic 2, after they saw that the movie did well, expanded on the video game aspect, really did a lot more fan service in that second movie, but it was still definitely, even more so than the first movie, it was a kid's movie. Like, there was a lot of cheese in that movie. But the fan service was definitely upped. We got the Master Emerald, not quite game accurate elements, but like the Master Emerald was there with the Chaos Emeralds. We had Tails, Knuckles joined. Robotnik was getting closer to that video game counterpart, at least look wise. He's still Jim Carrey, but he's getting closer to video game Robotnik. And obviously, the second movie had a lot more of the human aspect in it, with like Rachel's wedding and Tom and Maddie just being a big part of the movie. Then we got like Supersonic towards the end. That was great. The Death Egg robot, that was cool to see. The tornado. So all those elements were great. Seeing that get transported into the live action movie. Not 100% faithfully, but still, you could look at it and be like, yeah, that was in the games. That brings us to Sonic 3, and Sonic 3 is the best of the franchise so far. I guess I should touch on the Knuckles series that existed. Also, loosely adapting things from the games. Flames of Disaster, completely different from what it was in the games, but just fun little nods. Knuckles series did bring in the Black Arms, which is interesting. So, completely different than the game's Black Arms. Black Arms in the game's alien race. Knuckles series, they're weapons dealers, illegal weapons dealers. So, that's interesting. Yeah, Knuckles was kind of out there as a series, but it's kind of whatever. It was just probably a one-off thing. Anyway, that just brings us. Sorry, I'm rambling a lot. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm just really excited. I was really nervous about how I was going to feel about this movie, and the movie really delivered for me personally. So I'm just really excited. So yeah, Sonic 3. Back to being more of a family movie more so than a kids movie. Are there dumb jokes? Yes. Is there a lot of humor in general? Yeah. Is it full on Jim Carrey instead of being a game accurate Robotnik? Yeah, but he does look the part. And I mean, Robotnik is a goofy character, so like, it works. What they did, it works. And then Gerald being there is pretty fun. Shadow backstory is changed, which if you watched my breakdown video of the first trailer, I figured it would be changed. Not to the extent that I thought it was going to be changed. There was no time travel in this movie. Maria was done really well. Again, different than the game, but still close enough to like be a faithful adaptation to the heart of the character. The family aspect with Sonic and Tom and Maddie and Tails and Knuckles being added in, that grows even more. Like as a family movie, it's really neat to see. It's not part of the games, but like these movies are really branching out to a larger audience. Like, I put it in perspective. When I was a kid, I loved Sonic. He's always been like my favorite character. Sonic and Spider-Man have always been like the two fictional characters I've really been drawn to. But it was not cool to like Sonic when I was in grade school. A lot of people thought I was weird for liking Sonic. It never mattered to me. I loved the character and what he stood for. But it was still like that. Oh yeah, I was a pretty dweeby kid for liking Sonic back in the day. I still had friends and stuff, but like I was just like that one thing that people would poke fun. Why do you like this blue hedgehog franchise? It's like yeah, I do. Fun games, blah blah blah. Everybody else is playing Call of Duty. Now it's been so crazy to see that franchise blow up to what it is now. Like it is a full on phenomenon for kids, and there's more than just nerds like me watching these movies. And these movies have a great family aspect, a great moral lesson for kids in them. And you draw that in with all of the fan service. And they're really neat movies. I can see why they've been doing well with each movie. It's honestly, it's great. This is the most fun I've had with a movie in a long time. Definitely say I liked it. I had a better experience than I did with Avengers Endgame. Um, and maybe not Infinity War, but I did like it more than Endgame. I'm not saying it's a better movie than Endgame. I'm just saying that me personally, like what I enjoy, like the fan service to the franchise that I grew up with, Sonic 3 was just absolutely mind blowing for me. Um, so much stuff. I'm trying to think about what I can say without getting into real spoiler territory. Yeah, all the stuff in the trailer. So the Chow Garden, again, just fun nods. Agent Stone played somewhat of a cooler role in this movie. He rides a motorcycle at one point, so that was kind of neat. Again, a character that was never part of the games, but he's now this big part of the movies, and a lot of people will really come to like that character. Um, so yeah, overall, great, great kids movie. Um, Great Sonic movie. This is what I've been waiting for. I'm glad that instead of just being a full-on kids movie like the second one was, this one's more back to like just more of a family dynamic where it's not all just getting through fart jokes. It's actually a lot of interesting things to watch. And yeah, um, definitely recommend it. Definitely loved this movie. And without further ado, I'm just going to get into spoilers. So if you don't want the movie spoiled for you, just know that it was fan service from beginning to end. Kids are going to love it, and parents will, if they don't love it, at least be able to get through it enjoyably. A lot of the generation now that has kids grew up with Jim Carrey. So if you don't like Sonic and your kids do, Jim Carrey will be there to get you through the movie. I promise. He's in there twice, plays two roles. So yeah. Anyway, now spoiler territory. We got Live and Learn in a live action Sonic movie. Guys, that's so great. This game, here we go, my original copy from childhood, Sonic Adventure 2. 1-to-1? No. But was this game practically made into a movie? Yes. Good Lord, yes. Half the cast is missing, so again, no Rouge, no Amy. Chow, though, we had the Chow, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Robotnik, all there. Filling out the enemy team, obviously we do still have Stone and Gerald. So, different than the game's portrayal, yeah. Obviously in the games, he was murdered back 50 years ago before Shadow, or probably right after Shadow was sealed away. Gerald was murdered by Fire Squad, a firing squad, and obviously that's not in this movie. This is a kids movie. So, what do they do instead? Gerald is, and again, this is why I thought maybe initially there would have been some sort of time travel, but no. Just as Shadow was cryogenically frozen, Gerald also cryogenically frozen and unfrozen when the events of the movie. It doesn't show him being unfrozen, so I'm not sure why or how he became unfrozen. But he's there, and we get to see this cool dynamic with him and Robotnik that we never saw in the games. So that was neat. Shadow is his backstory changes, and I'm not 100% on it. I'm not like completely happy with it, but what they were able to do still cool. He's not created by Gerald. He is in fact just a full-on space alien. Kind of weird, but then they touch on the basis that the Sonic crew is also a bunch of space aliens because they're not from Earth. So it's not completely like plot destroying. So in this movie, instead, Shadow's brought down, and he's like he crashes on Earth in like a comet, black comet shaped thing, which was a nod to the Shadow game. I doubt that means we'll ever see the Black Arms, but who knows? I mean, game Black Arms. Obviously, we have the Black Arms from the Knuckles series, but that's completely different. So yeah, he crash lands, and then Gerald's the one that finds him, and they have the gun base, and he meets Maria, and they're doing a bunch of testing on him. So he starts losing his trust in humanity that way. Instead of being Gerald's son, I guess you could say, He's just a weapon found that from space, and Maria helps bring him to humanity, show him what love is. And then, much like the games, again, we're gonna keep getting into deep spoilers here. Yeah, Maria dies. So, if you were cheering for that, there you go. It definitely happens. She's definitely dead, and partially from a gunshot. Obviously, they're not going to cap a kid in a kids movie, and I'm pretty sure I called that in my trailer breakdown for the first trailer. But the tone is still there, and it's still kind of from a gunshot. There is a gun soldier that shoots like in I can't remember. I've only seen the movie once, but if I remember, it was like some sort of energy thing built into the wall, and that gunshot ends up being the thing that kills her. Why it doesn't kill Shadow and Gerald? Well, obviously it's not going to kill Shadow, but how it didn't kill Gerald, not sure. They were all right there next to each other, running from the gun agents, just like how Shadow and Maria were running in the game. But yeah, so a stray gunshot hits an energy thing and then blows Maria up. So still killing her, still scarring Shadow, but Shadow has no amnesia in this. Shadow is just holding on to anger from the moment he was frozen to 50 years later. Which brings us to his redemption. Yeah, we had a full-on Super Shadow, Supersonic fight, and it is awesome. Yeah, wow. Master Emerald's back. It was kind of weird. Sonic 2, the emeralds flew off after he used them, and then the Master Emerald itself was repaired. This movie, I guess Knuckles put the emeralds back into the Master Emerald when he repaired it at the end of the second movie, because they're just kind of back inside of it. So there's that. Being guarded by Wade Whipple. That was a weird scene, but the rest of the movie was so hyped that I'm just going to kind of ignore it. Sonic and Knuckles are head to head, like angry with each other about Tom, because Sonic wants to enact. He's full of anger because Tom does end up getting hurt in this movie, as predicted. No, he does not die. I didn't think he would. I said that in my last video. I didn't think Tom would die, and he doesn't. But he does get like injured enough to the point where it looks like he might not make it. Sonic's angry, wants to use the Master Emerald to fight Shadow, and Knuckles tries to stop him. Knuckles is now officially the guardian of the Master Emerald, in a way, but he leaves it with Wade Whipple because Wade's a strong warrior, according to the Knuckles series. So Sonic just goes and takes it from Wade. Wade's only in the movie for like 30 seconds. It's pretty funny, actually, but still just a weird plot point. But yeah, that leads to a full-on Super Sonic, Super Shadow battle. And then they're in space, and is there a Bio-Lizard? No. Is there a nod to the Bio-Lizard? Yes. Only briefly when Shadow is having flashbacks of him and Maria. They watch like an old sci-fi movie, and there's a monster lizard in there. It's basically the Bio-Lizard, as an old 50s monster movie. Really cool. Little nod. But I knew there wasn't going to be a Bio-Lizard in the movie. It wouldn't make sense for what's going on in this movie universe. So instead, they're fighting and blah, 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 and some stuff. I won't give everything away, but they become friends. And then instead of stopping the Bio-Lizard, they stop the Eclipse Cannon from hitting Earth, which leads to a different chain of events where Sonic actually runs out of power, and Tails has to save him. It's just so cool. I'm rambling about stuff. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the movie, well, for one, you shouldn't be watching these spoilers. But regardless, though, just the fan service when they're fighting in space and then finally make it up to the Eclipse Cannon. No arc in this movie. Just the Eclipse Cannon, but it still does have the mustache and the nose come out with the eyes that makes it look like the arc. So that's cool. Man, I probably sound like a madman, but I'm just blown away with what they actually were able to give us in this movie. The scene where they're on the same side, Sonic and Shadow, and they're fighting. They bring out the freaking gun robots from Adventure 2. Completely out of left field. Like, is it like this mass thing? No, it's just a fill-in for them not fighting the Bio-Lizard. but like the fact that they looked just like they did in the game, and they're just fighting an army of them, so great. Movie is just. I made the joke with my friends. It is the best 7 out of 10 movie I've ever watched. Uh, but yeah, like me as a Sonic fan, it's like a 10 out of 10. As a movie, it's hard for me to properly rate it. I'd say probably a 7 out of 10. You know, it's a family kids movie, but it's a good one. Are there tropes reused from every movie ever? Yeah, they're gonna be. At this point, movies are. There's so many movies, so many storylines. For me personally, it's not. Oh, this trope is used over and over again. It's, are they using this trope in a creative way and making it interesting? And for that, I didn't mind some of the tropes in this movie. But excellent adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2 as a movie. More faithful, like I said, not perfectly faithful, but more faithful than I would have ever thought we would have had a movie be on the big screen for a Sonic game. Way more faithful than the second movie was to Sonic 3. Like, far more faithful. Justice to Shadow's character. Keanu does a great job as Shadow. Um, Jim Carrey, I mean, he's Jim Carrey. If you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. I think he makes an alright Robotnik. Is he perfect to what the games are? No, but does he reach that mass audience for everybody else? Yeah, he's the reason why these movies partially do so well, is because people love Jim Carrey. And does he work as a zany, wacky video game mad scientist? Yeah, so I'm fine with it. I've come to love this version of Robotnik. And the arc that he has had from Sonic 1 to this movie has actually been really respectfully done. Like, really well done. It's cool what they were able to do. Will he come back for Sonic 4? Because yes, Sonic 4 has already been confirmed. I think it was confirmed yesterday before the even premiere day for the movie, uh, or opening night. Yeah, so we're getting Sonic 4. Will Jim Carrey come back? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. I will say his character was written out this time around, and he was written out well. They did a good job with it. I liked it. I'm completely satisfied if he never comes back. He did a good job in this movie. He did a good job with his character arc over the 3 movies. And we got 2 of them in this movie with Gerald. And as weird as that was to see Gerald actually in this story instead of just being a flashback, still just really well done. Really enjoyed it. I had a low bar set because I as much as I liked the first 2 movies, I left them not really thinking, wow, that's the best thing ever. I left them thinking, okay, I had high expectations because I'm a super fan and they were kids' movies. But this one, I went in with lower expectations and was like, wow, this was a Sonic movie. Um, so yeah, Sonic 3, not perfect, but man, it was great. I guess we'll talk about Sonic's character arc now. I want to kind of touch on everything before I get. I want to talk about the post-credit scene, but I want to touch on everything. We kind of talked about Shadow and Robotnik, so we'll talk about the Sonic trio. Um, Sonic and crew. I mean, Tails is still Tails. Knuckles is still Knuckles. They really haven't changed much. Sonic is a little more mature in this movie than he was in the last 2 movies. But he's also making more jokes than he ever has. So when I say mature, I mean like you can tell if he's supposed to be older than he was in the first 2 movies. But he definitely has lots of one-liners, lots of puns, lots of jokes. Which again, watching the trailers, I thought was going to be a disaster. I was like, this movie's pacing, this movie's direction has to be horrible. Shadow's so serious, and then they're still doing this goofy, zany kids movie stuff with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. How are they going to blend that together? But they did it, and it works. Revenge guac. That's what I'll leave that at. Revenge guac. But yeah, the movie's tone worked really well. So yeah, this is more a Shadow story than it is a Sonic story. Sonic's elements are done well, but you can tell that Shadow was the focus of this movie, and it was done with care and love for the character and the franchise. You can tell this movie studio does care about the fans, and that's great because most studios at this point don't seem to care at all. I'm not sure what's going on with Marvel at this point. We just got that new Superman trailer. That looks interesting. I don't hate that. I think a lot of people do hate it though. We'll see what goes on with that. Um, but yeah, the Sonic movies they're getting love, and I'm loving it. So yeah, so yeah, that was just me wanting to gush about this movie. Have I missed some stuff? Probably. Have I been all over the place? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, uh, Super Sonic, Super Shadow fighting to live and learn around the Eclipse Cannon. My mind was blown more than the moon was in this movie. So yeah, go see it if you haven't. It's great, great video game movie. Probably the best video game movie I've ever seen. So I'm also really biased though. If you can't tell, I'm a little too obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. So let's talk about the after credit scenes. Metal Sonic. I would have done Metal Sonic for the third movie, and then Shadow for the fourth movie. And I'm gonna lead into why I'm saying that. When I first saw Shadow at the end of Sonic 2, I thought, that's really cool. But I was also too taken aback by the thought of why are they doing Shadow now to really properly enjoy it. Fast forward 2 years later, the movie blew me away, and I love it. But and I love Metal Sonic, but how are they going to beat what this movie did? Now, like Metal Sonic Sonic CD could have been a story for the third Sonic movie, and then Sonic Adventure 2 could have been for the fourth Sonic movie. Because this movie will probably be the peak of the franchise. I'm not trying to be negative by saying that, but I don't know how they're gonna top it. But that being said, we have Metal Sonic now. More than one, so I don't know. I was psyched to see Metal Sonic. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like it was almost too late to do a Metal Sonic story properly. Maybe we're gonna get a Heroes movie instead of a CD movie. Sonic CD as a movie wouldn't really work if you ask me, especially with how they introduced the next character, Amy. Wow, that took 3 movies. She was introduced in the third Sonic game. There was Sonic 1, 2, CD, and then Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So Amy's here now. Metal Sonic, but there's a whole bunch of them. You start seeing the one, and then you're like, holy crap, it's Metal Sonic. And then you see a bunch of them, and you're like, huh? Then you see Here Comes a Hammer. And then you see a girl, and as soon as you see the hammer, you know who it is. But then she takes her hood off, and I thought she was gonna say, "Have no fear, Amy Rose is here," because that's what she said in Sonic Adventure 2 during the 2-player missions. But no, she didn't say anything. Probably don't have a voice actor for her cast yet. That was probably my assumption. But Amy's here, already telling it's gonna be a different take on the character. I can tell that much. But Metal Sonic is, I don't know what they're doing with it. I'm gonna be honest. It's got my attention for sure. More so than Shadow had my attention at the end of the second movie. Because I don't know, one, how they're gonna top this movie, and two, what they're going to do with the story arc. My guess is loosely adapting Hero's story. I could be wrong, but like I said, I have no idea what they're doing. I honestly thought that the next end credit scene was probably gonna be Silver, and then have a Sonic 06 movie. No. Amy and Metal Sonic. Weird order. Again, would have done that for the third and then Shadow for the fourth, but here we are. I'm all in for it. I'm willing to see. They have done really good with this movie franchise, so I'm willing to see what it's going to turn into. But I'm very skeptical and very curious. But if they do what they did with the fourth movie, they're going to do great with whatever they do. So, did I say fourth or third movie? Third movie. Either way. And then second end credit, because there is 2. You see a crash site, and then an inhibitor ring, and then Shadow walks and picks it up. Yeah, didn't think Shadow was dead. Oh yeah, by the way, Shadow and Robotnik, Space Colony arc blow up dead, whatever. You know Shadow's not going to die because he didn't die in Adventure 2. Robotnik, like I said, probably proper send-off. I don't know. We'll see. Shadow, I didn't think he'd die, and he didn't, but it was still cool to see him walk up and pick up his inhibitor ring. That was awesome. That being said, not being created by Gerald, Shadow still has the inhibitor rings, still has all the chaos power, and all we see is him crash land on Earth. So, surely, like, he had, like, if they're not going to do the Black Arms, surely he's going to have some sort of, like, alien race that made him, right? Like, I know it's going to be different from the games. It's already different from the games, but there's got to be something going on there. I don't know what it is. I'm curious though to see how Shadow's story plays out. If he, like, Knuckles got a spinoff TV show, and it was goofy, but like he still got it. He was only in it for like 30% of the show. But like if Knuckles got it, like surely Shadow's gonna have something. Whether I don't know if he'll get his own movie or if he'll even get a full franchise. Or I'm not franchise, but like a full series. But like they're probably gonna do something with Shadow if they did something with Knuckles. I would really like to see the backstory to this Shadow before he crashes on Earth and how he actually got created. But yeah, so he does still have the inhibitor rings, and that was neat to see in the movie and in the after credits scene. So yeah, total experience. Again, one of the best experiences I've ever had watching a movie. And like not like I mean there was like some weird people sitting next to me that smelled like pot the entire time, and she was kind of rude, but like that wasn't great. But I like just the movie. Sorry, I'm ranting. The movie itself was a great time with me and my friends, and obviously I went crazy with the merch haul, but that's what I do. So yeah, did you watch Sonic 3, and did you pick up any merch to remember your experience in the theater? Let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to see anything else or a full-on review of the movie, leave me a comment, and I'd like to do that at some point. So yeah, until next time, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you around.